So, hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Turn 5 podcast, where we've had our first sprint weekend in a while, courtesy of the United States Grand Prix. I forgot which American race it was. Is it
The American race?
Yeah, is it the Texas?
No.
US. Courtesy of the United States Grand Prix. Let's get right into it. It was obviously a busy weekend because it was a sprint weekend. We've got an extra race to talk about, an extra qualifying session. Did anything happen in FP1?
Don't know.
No,
So
moving on.
Max was fast.
Broom, broom.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, actually.
Oh, there was the whole Red Bull
It was the whole
bib.
Bibgate, yeah. Bibgate. Which was still rumbling on as the weekend went on, but...
Naturally, the car's quick, so of course everyone's going to complain about their latest upgrade.
Yeah. Should be said, there is no evidence that Red Bull were in breach of the regulations, because if there was, they would have been disqualified from every round this season, and Lando Norris would lead the World Drivers' Championship.
If it's an upgrade, would they have only been disqualified from the ones that they had run the upgrade in?
Yeah, it's a bit. I was disqualified.
I thought that they brought it in at the start of the season. It's been there since the beginning.
Oh, well then.
Well
then.
How the fuck is it took like
everyone this long to figure it out?
Yeah.
Because we had video of them showing some FIA guy in detail. This is how it works. This is what it does.
Yeah. Maybe when everyone on Twitter showed the McLaren Mini DRS, that is how the FIA saw it.
It probably is, to be honest. Some team probably spotted that and was like, "Ooh, let's look into this in more detail." And then was like,
"What's
hi, the FIA? What is this?" That sounds very Formula One.
An anonymous email to Joe Bauer. Mr. Bauer, look at this area of the Red Bull. Yours sincerely, Mr. Anon.
Yeah.
Toto's emailed.
Mr. Backthrown. It's a bit like DAS. No one knew anything about it until they cut to the Mercedes at pre-season test. They go, whoop. Everyone's like, whoa, what the fuck is that?
Is this steering column loose?
He's just trying to take off.
Yeah.
Pull back on the joystick, you know? So yeah, again, there is no evidence that any regulations were breached. It's all just typical paddock conjecture. But if it does come out that there was, well, we could be in for a long off season.
Sergio Perez disqualified from 9th in the World Drivers'
Yeah, because somehow they prove it only ran on Perez's car. We tried to make him fast.
Pardon me.
So sprint quali, Piastri had a shitter. P16.
Yeah, not ideal.
No. Not the worst qualifying performance of the weekend. We'll get to that. But yeah, not the best either. Any other shocks in the early rounds of sprint quali? I don't think there was.
Everyone has them
No
every
idea.
now and again, don't they? You just get caught out. It's the wrong timing. The track develops after you've set your time.
Yeah, exactly.
You make one little mistake. It has a knock-on effect. Your lap time gets deleted. Happens to everyone.
Well, not in SQ1. That was sort of the usual suspects. Although Albon being very out-qualified by Colapinto. 8 places. Good going for the young man.
Albon's got a fight on his hands.
He does. Probably for the first time since he was in the Red Bull.
Yeah. The first time in his entire Williams career, he has a fight.
Yeah. SQ2, Is this really a shock? Sergio Perez, P11.
Like, yes and no. Yes, because it's a Red Bull that's received an upgrade. No, because it's Sergio Perez.
Yeah.
Exactly. Then SQ3.
It's like Manchester United losing, isn't it, really?
Yeah, at this point, we've just come to expect it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when it first started happening, everyone was like, whoa! And now it's, it's happened again.
Him again.
Yeah.
Colapinto P10, good stuff. Both Hasses in Q3 again.
The Freedom Eagles were screeching in the back of that car.
The gritty Haas is speed, because they've announced a new technical partnership with Toyota, who've re-entered the sport for the first time in a long time. Welcome back, Toyota. They've clearly bought the Yaris power to the Haas. Actually, do you know what? Based on how the rest of the weekend went, George Russell being within 100th of Max Verstappen in sprint quali is quite a shock.
Hmm.
In hindsight, looking at the rest of the weekend. How did they put that there?
The conditions must have changed dramatically.
The stars aligned.
Yeah.
Very briefly.
Yeah. For that one session.
Yeah.
And then it all went downhill. Sprint race. Verstappen won. Moving on.
I mean, that in itself is a bit of a shock.
Yeah. He defends
his 100% sprint record this year. But it's the first time he's crossed the line first since, what, Imola?
Something like that.
Which is nuts.
Yeah.
Like this time last year, it was like, Carlos Sainz won Singapore. Good God, what happened there? Now it's like, holy shit, Max won?
Yeah. That's true. We got the first glimpses of the pace of the Ferrari in the sprint.
Yeah, absolutely.
Warning
shots.
To be honest, I don't think many people were expecting.
Not going into the weekend, no.
Yeah,
no.
It's what Ferrari have done. They'll be shit, and then they'll be fucking amazing, and then they're shit again.
Shit again, yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to go to Mexico, and they're going to finish 10th.
Yeah, but I feel like Mexico is more altitude limited, you know?
Mm.
Then we go to like Vegas or whatever, and they'll be flying.
I actually think they're going to struggle in Mexico and Vegas, but they'll do well in Brazil and maybe not quite as much, but better than usual in Qatar and Abu Dhabi. Because I think their car likes the warmer temperatures.
Mm.
Because everyone else was absolutely chewing through their tyres, and the Ferraris were just pushing on.
Chilling, yeah.
So, in the warmer climates, I think they're fine, because they don't overheat their tyres. But I feel like that is a negative when it comes to the colder temperatures, because I feel like it means they won't be able to keep the heat in them.
But then, look at Monza.
We saw how cold Vegas was last year.
But look at Monza. Monza isn't particularly hot at the time of year we go there. And Leclerc became the tyre whisperer.
True.
With no safety car to help either.
True.
Yeah. So
also, that's
Ferrari.
We'll come to that, but welcome back, Bert Mylander.
Yes, Bert Mylander's sabbatical has ended. He's returned.
Good to see him back. Yeah, we've seen the Mercedes second back. Russell went from 2nd to 5th. Hamilton gained a place. He finished 6th in the sprint. The Haas's closing out the point, 7th and 8th. 9th for Sergio Perez, 10th for Piastri, which is a decent recovery drive. It's just a shame that you don't get points for that in the sprint.
Yeah. That's after his penalty as well.
Yeah.
5 seconds. So.
And then qualifying. And we can talk about the worst qualifying performance of the weekend.
Senor
Lewis Hamilton P19.
Well, okay, in
Qualified.
fairness,
Yeah.
it wasn't P19 originally, but then his lap time got deleted, and it was.
Yeah. True.
What position was it originally?
It was 16 when he crossed the line, and he
Yeah.
was just 3 thousandths off 15th. But then a couple of other
So
people,
he still wouldn't have got through.
a couple of
Yeah.
other people improved. So I think he was 18th, and then his lap time got deleted, and he was 19th.
So he would have been in front of Valtteri Bottas.
Yep.
Great drive.
Did read something, I don't know how true it is, that he sustained floor damage in the sprint and they couldn't fix it in time for qualifying,
It's the first.
which
I've
is
heard
why
of
the
it.
car was just fucked.
If
But
that's the
that
case,
could
though,
just be
why didn't he start from the pit lane? Because you would need to. Was there a document that said he changed any elements between?
it'll be in the technical delegates
Because
report.
once you enter into quali again, you're back under Parc Ferme, so you'd
Yep.
need permission to change any elements between quali and the race.
Parts and parameters that have been replaced during Parc Ferme. Let's find out.
See, I'm getting the hang
Because
of these
there
regulations.
are some legal changes that you can make.
Yeah,
no.
it's like for damage, isn't it? That's
Yeah,
standardized as that's okay.
they changed nothing.
Yeah, so I am going to put a kibosh on that theory and say his floor was fine.
It was just something that I read.
Yeah, no, but like if his
yeah.
floor was damaged, he would have suffered. Well, maybe because he did crash out.
Yeah.
So we'll never know.
And Toto was very firm in the post-race interview. Lewis doesn't spin like that. He just doesn't.
But
Well, I think
But
it would have
Toto,
been.
100% car.
but Toto, he
Yeah.
did.
It would have been weird for Toto to blame Lewis when George done it the day before as well.
Yeah, he did say that. He was like, with George doing it at the same corner, we think it's a
Yeah.
problem with the car.
That would make
Um,
somewhat logical sense, wouldn't it?
But yeah, George got into Q3 and then got the car in the wall, which led to a pit lane start. Oh well.
Yeah, unlucky.
Yeah, because they're allowed 2 hours after qualifying to fix the cars. And Mercedes, well, didn't fix it in time. So they were in breach of Parc Ferme. Because all the parts that they changed, it was actually legal for all of those parts to be changed, then they would have kept his grid slot.
Yeah.
But it took too long.
Womp womp.
Which is a new one. I don't think we've had that recently, where that's been the reason for a pit lane start. Normally they just go, oh well, change the car, put it in the wall anyway, change everything, as
It's
opposed
either because
to
they've had a shit qualifying, so they're like, oh, fuck it, change everything on the car. Or...
I was quite surprised they didn't bother doing a pit lane start with Lewis, given he was
Yeah.
19th and therefore, well, actually 18th once.
and then 17th.
Yeah, once everything unfolded as it did. Because like, what you might as well take new power
To
units.
be fair, had
Look.
he not put it in the gravel on lap 5, he actually had a rocket of a start.
Yeah, he done his best Jensen Button in the McLaren Honda tribute. Yeah, I have to respect it.
Oh, and Lando Norris took pole, by the way. Just moving on.
Yeah.
Waste time.
I
Yeah,
feel
We've
it
got
would've
lots
been
to
Max.
talk about.
I don't know if he would have taken pole had it not been for George, but you know,
Yeah.
we've seen it before. We'll see it again.
Hadn't Max put in 2 purple sectors
Yeah.
Yeah.
when the red flags came out?
Yeah. That's the way the cookie crumbles.
Exactly. That's Formula 1. It
Yeah.
happened. Sometimes it falls for you, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, race. Lap 1. Turn 1. Lando Norris went back to doing Lando Norris things.
You know, I was actually hopeful for the first 8 seconds that he was going to slam that door shut, and then he just kind of left a gap.
He started closing the door and then went, actually.
Good enough. Good enough.
Yeah.
There's only one car's width there. That's all right. Close the fucking door.
Exactly.
So Max
Because if you
fucking sent
crash-
it.
lap 1, turn 1, they'll let you away with it.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I do actually want to talk about that. It's our first instance of inconsistent stewarding, and it's only because it's the same circuit. I remember, I think it was George Russell on someone a couple of years ago.
Carlos Sainz. He did the big spin.
Yeah, just ploughed into Carlos Sainz in turn 1. And then we seen the same thing happen, except
but-
it was at the back of the pack.
Yeah, you see, there's the difference.
And so the stewards just went,
It don't matter. It don't matter. George had clear sky in front of him, and he absolutely nailed Carlos. Guy at the back, he was surrounded. It was completely. He was obscured in every sense.
because it was basically an identical incident. I'm just saying, no investigation necessary. Okay,
Spin.
here we go. And then we have, what was the second part of the yes.
The running wide.
Yeah, we have Max Verstappen deciding that track limits are optional.
Turn 4 at Sao Paulo, anyone?
Turn 1 at Circuit of the Americas. Yeah, just completely ignoring the fact that there was a car there. And credit to Charles Leclerc. He just went, thank you very much.
Gap, go, gone, bye. And that was the last we saw of Charles.
Yeah, he just checked out.
Pretty much.
I'm off. See you later.
Normally, we spend a lot of the race watching the lead car. This race, we've seen virtually none of the lead
Probably
car.
seen about 2 laps worth of Charles, and that was it.
Yeah, probably when he came in for his pit stop and
we've seen
across
him
the line.
And we've seen him cross the line. We've seen him take the lead. That was it.
We saw him take the lead because we were looking at the other two forcing each other off the circuit. He was in the background. It wasn't the focus at that point.
Yeah.
Then they went, oh look! A red car's in the lead. When was the last time this happened?
Do you know
They showed him when the Charles was on the radio being like, don't fuck up my strategy.
That was brilliant. But yeah, what you said, Richard, that's basically what I was sitting watching it with my mum and my dad. My mum doesn't really watch Formula One. And she was like, oh, a red car's winning. I'm like, yes. The Ferrari.
She tried.
I actually thought it was Sainz that had taken the lead because, well, he was third. But no, Charles Leclerc. And he just drove off into the sunset. And the race then settled down for a bit. Lewis had a rocket start, probably partially because of the spin. Gained 5 places. And then the safety car returned.
Bernd Mailander's holiday is over.
Ended.
When was
What
the
was
last
that?
time he came out? Canada?
Canada, yeah. How many races ago was that?
64 years ago.
Oh,
What round was Canada?
Like
probably
7,
9.
8.
Let's find out. Canada
Yeah.
was round 9.
Oh, get it
10 rounds ago.
Man's had a real cushy time being flown around the world. Actually, he's had a cushy time, except for Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Other than that,
Maybe
he's
he
just
was-
been paid to sit in the pit lane in a car and watch the race.
And occasionally do
imagine-
support series stuff.
Yeah. Imagine him at Singapore like, yes, this is my time now. I'm back.
A
Come on,
100% previous guaranteed record of
Yeah.
attendance at this race ruined. He should have just gone out just for the shits and gigs. Like last lap, just safety car deployed. I'm not ruining my streak.
What do you do? The normal safety car just drives on the track. They're like, never safety car, red flag.
But yeah, what else? So I found it really funny when the safety car came out, and like Crofty is sitting talking strategy. It's lap 3.
Yeah.
Free, chill out.
You save 11 seconds by pitting under the safety car. Motherfucker, his tyres haven't even started to be used yet.
Yeah, exactly. It's lap 3. Relax.
And Martin's like, yeah, it's probably a bit too early for that. You don't say.
Then we have our first stewarding incident of the main race, as George Russell goes down the inside of Valtteri Bottas. Valtteri Bottas goes wide. George Russell uses the track. George Russell receives 5-second time penalty for forcing another driver off the circuit. Thoughts?
I think that they showed Anthony showed it on the Sky Pad, and it was the right choice because George sort of gives in the room and then suddenly cuts him off. So it is forcing Valtteri off.
Yeah. It seemed a bit harsh at the time, especially considering what they had let them away with in lap 1.
Yeah. The image
and
that
then
everyone
later
is
on
showing. Yeah. The image that everyone is shown online is very. It doesn't show what actually fucking happened.
Mm.
It's sort of
images never give
manipulating
you
it.
an accurate.
Yeah, you need to watch the whole thing.
Yeah. But there's definitely you sort of give Valtteri the space and cut it off. I don't know why he cut it off, but he did. Because he was around the corner.
It's the sort of angle that the corner goes at. It's so hard to maintain that tight angle and carry any sort of speed. You're always going to drift out.
It is a shit corner.
Yeah.
They need to make it wider or change it in some way. Because everyone's like, Austin promotes great racing for the driver on the inside. Just hit the apex and say to the other guy, fuck off. Enjoy that runoff.
Yeah, the amount of times we saw either someone just get shown the runoff or people trying to do the switchback, but then the next corner's the opposite direction, so they're still on the outside. And they're obviously the faster car, but they're just stuck.
I always found it funny watching people try the switchback at 15 going into the 16, 17, 18 complex. So you can't overtake there. There is no place to overtake in that sequence. Settle down, sir.
Well, Verstappen overtook Raikkonen in that sequence. It was illegal.
Yeah, exactly.
He did cut the corner.
Yeah.
Not by much, but it was still a cut.
Yeah.
Yes, you remember track limits. They were great.
Then we had, I think it was Magnussen versus Tsunoda for a few laps.
These sound like court cases now. Magnussen versus Tsunoda.
Yeah. Who did Tsunoda push off?
Magnussen. But Magnussen held the place, didn't he?
Yeah, car 23. Is that Magnussen?
No, 23 is Albon.
No, that's 22.
23.
Oh, yeah, 23.
22 Tsunoda.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Knowledge.
One of them get pushed off, and the stewards just went, we don't care.
It's too far back for us to give a shit.
But evidently not, because they penalised Yuki Tsunoda later in the race.
Yeah.
For pushing off Alex Albon.
Up. There must be a point between 12th and below that they start to give a shit.
Yeah, but then apparently anything 4th and above, they get it wrong.
Yeah, he got 5 seconds.
They go into it too much.
And then Pierre Gasly got a 5-second time penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. They've actually mistyped it on the website by saying it was forcing another driver off the track. Because he overtook Albon off the circuit at turn number
12.
It doesn't say. Oh, turn 15.
Oh,
I remember that one actually. He just went off and drove around Albon. But there was mitigation.
Albon's car was in the way.
Because in the guidelines, the driver of car 10 lost the right to the corner, albeit briefly, by only a very small margin.
The fuck does that mean?
I don't know.
They're just making shit up now.
He did do it, but he was only off for a brief amount of time.
And then the race again sort of settled down. The McLarens weren't looking too great.
They were
told
looking good on the tyres, though. The fuck was that about?
Yeah.
Sprint race.
Monster stint.
Nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. We were told the Red Bull had an issue and that they were going to fix it at the pit stop. And then they came
Carlos
in and done
kept
a
coming on the radio
completely normal pit stop. Oh, yeah, and Carlos could smell fuel in the car.
Yeah.
Mm.
And they changed the switch and it fixed it. Don't know how that works, but it does. Maybe they switched on the aircon. Who knows?
Fire!
They turned on his in-helmet air freshener.
Exactly. No more fuel.
It's like the Top Gear scene when Clarkson's in the Peugeot. He turns on like the heater and it says fire.
And then, yeah, there was the pit stops, and the McLaren suddenly looked like Jesus on the higher tyre. Norris is closing in on Verstappen. We get some amazing racing for about 10 laps. And then, the incident of the day.
Of the weekend.
Yeah. Possibly even the season so far.
No, there's still Austria.
Yeah.
True. But that caused less debate around the steward's decision. That one was rather clear-cut.
But no, because before that, Verstappen, Lando was on the inside at the apex. Verstappen went off, went around Norris, and he held position, and it was fine then. So...
Oh yeah, didn't Verstappen do that earlier in the race against Carlos Sainz?
Yeah, he done it on lap 1 against Sainz, but it's only lap 1.
It's only lap 1. We don't care.
That rule for the shit as well. Why does it matter if it's lap 1 or lap 32? No difference.
Lap 1 I can kind of understand when it comes
to lap 1
causing a collision.
Rule is rule.
But then that's that's just a racing incident then, isn't it?
Yeah, like when it comes to causing a collision, I can understand some mitigation there. Forcing another driver off the track? No, there's no excuse. Track limits? No excuse. Unless there's an incident ahead of you. Okay, then.
You have to avoid it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Are you ready to hear the steward's document on the Lando Norris penalty?
Physically, yes. Mentally, not in a million years.
Here we go.
Oh, Jesus.
Car 4 was overtaking Car 1 on the outside, but was not level with Car 1 at the apex. Therefore, under the driving standards guidelines, Car 4 had lost the right to the corner. Accordingly, as Car 4 left the track and returned in front of Car 1, it is deemed to be a case of leaving the track and gaining a lasting advantage. A 5-second time penalty is imposed instead of the 10-second penalty recommended in the guidelines.
Because we know
having
wrong.
committed... It gets better. Because having committed to the overtaking move on the outside, the driver of Car 4 had little alternative other than to leave the track because of the proximity of Car 1, which had also left the track.
Right, so he wasn't alongside, but...
It gets better!
Right.
It gets better. In view of the above, we determined that this will not count as a track limit strike for Car 4.
Bruh.
But Verstappen, like...
So they're not counting it as a breach of track limits, but they're penalising him for leaving the track and gaining an advantage.
Actually, double inconsistency. Didn't Gasly get a penalty for fucking track limits when he was forced wide by someone else earlier in the season?
Wasn't it at Silverstone a couple of years ago?
No,
where he wasn't
there was definitely one this year where he got given a 5-second time penalty shortly after being shown the fucking runoff area.
I'm not too sure off the top of my head, but I think it was Lance Stroll at Silverstone a couple of years ago.
Oh, it
Was pushed off the track.
Yeah, that's
Got a
so
black and white
funny.
flag for track limits.
That
It
was so
wasn't
funny.
investigated for leaving the track and gaining an advantage.
Nuts.
So, yeah, discuss.
Appeal.
We can't. It's an in-race penalty. It cannot be appealed.
What?
Right, like,
File a complaint with the CAS.
I get Lando
They
overtook
can't.
Verstappen off the track, but you either penalise them both or do nothing at all.
Yeah, when I read that
When
Stewart's
you
document,
read had little alternative, then Max needs to be given a 5-second penalty for forcing another driver off the circuit.
yeah, especially considering what I said was I could kind of understand it. I think had Max made the corner, I don't think Lando's
Yeah,
making the
there's
corner
no-
anyway. I think he's too quick. But Max makes no attempt to make the corner. He just goes off. He only re-overtakes Lando at the apex because he outbraked himself.
Yeah. Well, he didn't outbrake himself. He purposely went
Let
off
off
the
the
brakes
brakes.
early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He deliberately outbraked himself then. Like, what the fuck?
Something needs to be looked into there because it's not the first time he's done that.
Brazil
But-
2021
Yeah.
springs to mind.
But he got a 5-second penalty for that as well, didn't he?
No, but even just like
No.
letting off the brakes and running the car further into the corner than he needs to.
Yeah.
It's not the
but-
first time he's done that.
No, I don't think he did get a penalty for that particular incident in Brazil. I think
What did
it
he
was a
get done
different
for
one.
then? What was it?
The next
was
lap.
it Saudi that he got done for it?
Oh, he got done for many things in Saudi that year.
Yeah.
Yeah, he never got done for anything in Brazil.
Fucking Jesus
And
Christ.
Mercedes launched a right of review against it, and the stewards went, fuck off.
It's racing, mate.
Yeah, they discussed it at Qatar, and they decided that the footage against Verstappen was not significant.
Yeah, because it has to be new, doesn't it? It has to be new
Well, no,
footage.
they determined that it was new.
Oh, brilliant. But
But it was
it's the same
unavailable.
shit. It just shows the same shit. What are you on about, mate? It's not significant.
Yeah, so they determined that it was new, unavailable at the time of the decision, relevant, but not significant. Therefore, the right of review was thrown out.
Available at the time. Sorry, mate, we're busy. Fuck off.
Well, no, it's like they probably submitted the fucking 360 camera off the car, which isn't available until after the race because they have to download it.
Yeah, watch this in 360. Lewis Hamilton getting sent to Narnia.
But yeah, it's great. I love the stewards.
They're fucking dumb.
And then just to cap it off, the stewards have fined the United States Grand Prix organisation €500,000 because approximately 200 people managed to get on the track before the end of the race. Well, after the end of the race, but before the end of the cool-down lap.
Does the USGP know what Euros are, and are they aware it's not Monopoly money?
Who knows? But yeah, that's your USGP review. I do think the discussion on the whole track limits thing will rumble on for a bit.
Yeah.
Especially if it turns out to be a championship-defining incident.
Well, I also
I don't think it will.
Well, no, Max can sit at home for 2 races and still be in the lead, so... Yeah, no.
Yeah. I also think if Norris and Verstappen are that close on track again, I do feel like it will come into contact again. Because the way Norris was defending at the end was a lot more erratic, a lot more aggressive.
Yeah, actually, we forgot to talk about that. Lando Norris, not long after he'd overtaken Max, That was a very cheeky defending move.
Yeah, it's right on the line.
Like,
yeah.
That's what he needed to do on lap one.
Yeah.
When he definitely would have got away with it.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, slap one, you can do what you want.
Yeah, apparently so.
Yeah, I can't wait for Mexico Turn 1 is going to be fucking amazing. Every 20 drivers just cutting the fucking corner, getting the apex.
Yeah, exactly. I was ahead at the apex. It's okay.
Yeah, it's just Kevin Magnussen straight through. Fucking
Magnussen
ahead at the
bowling.
apex. Yeah.
But yeah, Richard, would you like to take us through our prediction results for this weekend?
Well, notably because both Norris and Piastri did not feature on the podium, we've had a bit of a shitter across the board. The highest score this week was 4 points.
Get on.
The lowest score was 1 point.
I think that was me.
It was. You got pole position correct. Well done, Chris. Nobody got the sprint winner right. Everyone except Ben got pole position right. And then, Ben, you got your 3 points for putting Verstappen third on the podium.
Beautiful.
Is it, though? Is it?
It's simply lovely.
Nia got 4 points for pole position and Verstappen third. I got 2 points for pole position and putting Leclerc on the podium. And Sonia got 2 points for pole position and putting Verstappen on the podium. Totals, therefore, Chris is on 57, Nia is on 62, Sonia is on 77, I am on 78, and Ben stretches his lead by 1 point to 81.
Shit, I was in my way to the title.
Big
Sam's back.
Predictions?
Bold predictions. Ben, no. Sonoda did not beat Lawson in all quali and race sessions. Almost.
He was closer, shouldn't he? Yeah. Was it just the race?
Technically just the race, but also in
that
quali,
was also...
in quali he wasn't really allowed to compete.
But in the race, the moment when Lawson came out in front of Yuki and Yuki's like, how's that happened? Then Mike's like, because it's quicker than you, mate. Fucking come on. Get on with
yeah,
it.
Exactly.
Savage.
The other car was stronger than we thought.
Chris, you said Verstappen and Norris contact in either race. Close, but no.
Yeah.
Nia, however, has pulled out an absolute blinder. Mercedes causes safety car. Not only did she predict the end of the sabbatical of Bernd Mailander, she got the cause of the team correct.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought? I, however, had an absolute shitter. I said 2 cars to DNF in the sprint and 3 cars to DNF in the Grand Prix.
No.
There was 1 DNF.
All weekend.
Yeah. Lapdown Showdown. It's a tie.
Is it between us two? Right?
Yeah. Me and Ben, without communicating anything, put in the exact same prediction for Lapdown Showdown. We both said Zhou on lap 32 and 1 lap down. It was indeed Zhou, however, it was on lap 37, so we were both the closest lap, and it was 1 lap down. Perez position predictions.
Hold on.
Hey Sergio, welcome to Red Bull.
Nobody got sprint quali right, he finished 11th. Nobody got the sprint right, he finished 9th. Chris, you got quali right, he did finish 10th. And Nia got the race right, in which he finished 7th. So it's a tie between you two.
I said 8th.
Yeah, I said 8th as well. So I was 1 place off on 2. Gutted.
And that's us, I think.
Yeah, that brings us to Mexico predictions.
Indeed. Mexico preview. It's usually a Red Bull dominant circuit.
That's because of their power unit historically.
Mm.
It's also because the Red Bull have been about 5 seconds quicker than every other team.
True, but
recent history.
even
That has helped,
before,
Yeah, even
before the aero changes,
yeah, like
Red Bull went better at
2019,
Mexico.
18, 17, they were
Yeah.
still very good in Mexico.
Altitude.
Mm. Will that continue, though? It's been a lot closer this season. A few surprises in races that perhaps we didn't see coming. To be honest, I don't think anyone would have predicted going into the weekend if Ferrari won 2 at Kota.
No.
So, time will tell. Let's get into our predictions. Richard. Oh, this is a normal weekend, by the way.
Yes. This is a bog
to preface.
standard.
And then we're back to sprint shenanigans next week for Brazil.
Yes. It's I believe it's pretty much one on, one off for the rest of the year now, isn't it? Because it's sprint in Brazil, but not in Vegas. Sprint in Qatar, and then not in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
So we're one on, one off for the rest of the year, folks. But I'm going to go Norris for pole position.
Ben.
Charlie Leclerc.
I can't look past how strong that Red Bull's been at Mexico. I'm going Max Verstappen.
Max in the fucking barrier.
We haven't had Nia's predictions yet, so if she gets them in time, we'll add those.
Yeah, so she's got until the end of the night, and if not, it's going to be...
Anything before FP1 is technically free game.
Right, cool.
Anything after free practice starts but before quali results in a 50% point haul.
I think Nia said Sergio Perez who's going to stick it on pole there.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm going to write these down in small, just so we know.
Podium. We'll go with Nia first.
Sonia also said Norris on pole. I did actually go ahead and get hers beforehand this time.
Nia thinks Sergio Perez is going to win the race.
This is
Ben,
really shitting on my bold prediction here.
Liam Lawson, just to keep that Red Bull fight going, you know.
And Richard, who's finishing third?
Franco Colapinto.
Oh, yeah.
Just really cementing why James Vowles put faith in him.
Can we have your predictions then, please, Richard?
Norris, Leclerc, Verstappen.
Ben?
Norris, Leclerc, Verstappen.
I'm going with Verstappen, Norris, Leclerc.
And Sonia has gone for Verstappen, Norris, Leclerc.
Ooh.
Okay, so there's 20 drivers on the grid, right? Arguably 6 of them are really in contention for this podium. And yet, between the 4 of us that have put our predictions in, we have 2 sets of identical pairs of predictions.
Yeah.
Nice.
Lapdown Showdown. Just because that's the first thing that's popped into my head.
71 laps, I think it is.
Good. That's what I was just about to search.
Yes, 71.
Lovely. Ben.
Yeah, it's Guan Yu Zhou. He's
become the new Logan Sargent.
Yeah.
The car's just that bad.
The car's shit. It'd be lap 35, 2 laps down.
Can you actually fuck off? I've just written that.
I'm going to go with Guan Yu Zhou, lap 37, 1 lap down.
Oh, you're an arsehole.
And Nia is going with Max Verstappen on lap 3, 2 laps down.
67 laps down.
And bold predictions now. Ben, let's start with you.
RB to get in front of Haas in the Constructors' Championship.
Okay. Richard?
Sergio Perez to announce his retirement.
Oh, that is bold.
Thanks.
I'm gonna
Trust
go.
in the rumor mill.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna stick along that theme. Sergio Perez to be sacked by Red Bull
During the Grand Prix.
before we get to Sao Paulo.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a longer burn, but
We'll have to.
yeah,
we'll have to
before we.
we'll have to potentially put that in the Sao Paulo review episode.
Yeah, but yeah, before we end up in Sao Paulo, Sergio Perez to be sacked by Red Bull, either for next
Daniel
season.
Ricciardo returns.
For
Returns
next
for
season,
3
they won't
races.
drop him for like 3 rounds, but yeah, for next season he'll be sacked. What's Nia gonna say for the bold prediction?
Sergio Perez to cut
Sergio
across the
Perez
whole
Grand
track
Slam.
in turn 1.
Sergio Perez.
Oh, yes.
Sergio Perez
yes.
Grand Slam.
Yes. Genius.
Meanwhile, I was like Max Verstappen to set off nuke in Mexico City.
I'd argue a Sergio Perez Grand Slam
It's
is even
rarer.
bolder than
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
It's time. Do the.
Yeah, it's time for.
You get 2 doses
Hey,
of it.
Sergio. Welcome to Red Bull.
Lovely.
Perez position predictor. I'll kick us off with qualifying P8 race DNF.
Going for a repeat of last year.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, okay. We can immediately fill in Nia's because it's
Yeah, 'cause it's
1-1.
1-1. Yeah, exactly.
Then
I'm saying he's going to qualify 6th and then DNF because it's funny.
I think you've got too much faith in him. I'm saying he's qualifying 12th
That would be more funnier.
in his home
At
race.
his home race.
12th. And I think he's going to scrape 2 points, so I'm going to put him in. I'm put him in to finish 9th.
Actually, hold on. It's not a Grand Slam. What's the one where you lead every session and every lap? Like the perfect weekend. First in FP1,
God,
2,
I
3.
don't know. That's like the pinnacle.
I
Though,
thought
isn't
that
it?
was the Grand Slam.
Nah, Grand Slam's like just qualifies
that
first, leads every lap,
and sets the fastest
lap.
Jim Clark's actually got the most Grand Slams with 8.
Damn! Jim Clark was a savage.
I'm just. Lewis Hamilton's got the second most.
That's not
With
surprising.
6. Yeah.
How many has
I can't
Shumi got?
Michael has 5, tied with Ascari and Max Verstappen.
To be fair, it's kind of what you'd expect given the recent form of Formula One, is that Verstappen with his dominant car, Lewis with his dominant car, and Michael Schumacher with his dominant car be able to set those sort of records.
Mm.
I'm assuming Vettel's on like 3 or 4.
I think it might actually be called a perfect weekend.
How imaginative.
Yeah.
I see a lot of Grand Chelem, Chelem.
Yeah, that's just the weird spelling of Grand Slam for some reason. Grand Slam.
CHE.
I don't think LEM.
Grand Chelem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Welsh for Grand Slam.
I don't. Has it ever happened?
Don't know.
Yes, apparently. 1998 Brazil Grand Prix. Mika Hakkinen led every session. Just so Mika
Damn.
Brazil.
So yeah, that's going to be near. It's not a Grand Slam. It's a Sergio Perez perfect weekend.
Cool. I can't wait to laugh at that on Friday evening.
When FP1 finishes.
And he comes 12th.
But,
Liam Lawson tops FP1.
Liam
Franco
Lawson, perfect weekend.
Colapinto.
Oh my god.
But yeah, that wraps up this week's episode of the Turn 5. Actually, no, it doesn't. Sorry.
I thought
Side note, something I forgot to bring up. It's not news, just stay tuned to our social media on Thursday. I'm going down to the F1 exhibition, so I'll bring some pictures and stuff from there.
I'm gonna make some changes for the end of season awards show.
Oh,
I'm
this is
gonna-
news.
I mean, I sort of cancel off the Turn 5 award side because it's a lot of fucking effort. So-
Fair. So we're just doing
Yeah,
Formula
we're
1.
not- Yeah, but I might make it more of like a yearly review in a way, with some like awards in between.
Rest in
That's fair,
peace.
that's fair.
3 for 3 on Richard's Rant of the Year award.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just
God damn
it's
it.
difficult to think at the moment. You know, we're in October now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Fair.
Oh.
But yeah, with that, now that wraps up this week's episode of the Turn 5 podcast. Join us next week for the review of the Mexico Grand Prix and the preview of the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. But until then, ta for now.